Guys, let's do this. So if you haven't been watching, or if you are watching on YouTube, or if you don't know this, I have just finished a Tomb Raider marathon where we played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Legend, Remake, where's Remake? Legend, Remake, and Underworld all in a row. It took most of April and a bit of May, but we're finally done. And yeah, I'm gonna do a tier list of just my own opinion. This won't be long because I don't have much to say. It won't be like the Silent Hill and Resident Evil tier list because it's really more so I like it or dislike it. But without further ado, Tomb Raider 1, we'll go with the order I played them in. So I started with the first one that came out and then went that way. And you guys, look, share your opinions too. Make it into the YouTube video for the rest of time. So this is probably my favorite Tomb Raider game. Only because, I mean, it's probably nostalgia, but this is the one I speedrun. I really like it because there's a lot of creatures. You never fight humans. I hate fighting humans, and any game that you shouldn't fight humans, I'd prefer fighting like monsters or something. So like a game like Metal Gear, I love fighting humans because that's all that makes sense in that game. But Tomb Raider, I much prefer fighting monsters and just fantasy creatures. But I do think I'm gonna put this in A only because the game has not aged the best, but I do love it personally. But this marathon has changed my favorite Tomb Raider, I think. At least for now. I bounce back and forth, but yeah, I think this is a god tier game. It's okay. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I have to put an S because I was about to say it's easily my favorite or one of my favorites, but it's probably nostalgia. But I just love the level design. I love the sound effects, the sound design. When you go into a new area, it just plays this really short jingle. I just love everything about Tomb Raider 1. I think it is it's the most enjoyable experience for me. Even though the controls are very clunky and very basic, it works, which is a good thing. I mean, it's hard to not do a glitch, but the mechanics work, and that's a lot to say about Tomb Raider game because sometimes the mechanics don't work. All right, Tomb Raider 2. I think most people can agree this is the best Tomb Raider, at least of the classics. I won't be rating Shadow, Rise, or the reboot, but I'm sure one of those is probably just as good. I've never played them, and I plan on playing them when the new one comes out, which is probably going to be in like 2024 or something. But yeah, I think this ticks all the boxes for a Tomb Raider game. Amazing level design, really fun story, a variety of creatures and enemies to fight, but for the most part it is humans, and I don't like that aspect of the game. I don't think it is too fun to fight humans all day, but I think the level design makes up for it, and it has great pacing. It has really cool mechanics like the added midair twirl that they actually make use of in the last few levels. Like, you need to use that mechanic. It's awesome. I love Tomb Raider 2. I love the sound effects, the every time you pick up an item. Just an amazing platformer. I actually think Tomb Raider 2 is like top 3 platformers of all time, and easily the best platformer on PS1. I can't think of many bad things to say, like objectively bad things. I don't like Venice. Everyone loves Venice. I don't like Venice. But yeah, there's not much bad stuff to say about Tomb Raider 2. It can be a little on the difficult side. But yeah, love. Oh, I should say my favorite level in each Tomb Raider game. In Tomb Raider 1, it is the oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. In Tomb Raider 1, it is Midas. Yes, it is Midas, actually. That level is awesome. And in Tomb Raider 2, thank you. I need you guys to help me. In Tomb Raider 2, it is it was on the tip of my tongue. What level was it? weirdly enough, I like the level, I can't remember what it's called, but where you start in water and I really like two levels. The one where you start in water and you go through this abandoned ship. I forget what it's called. Is that 40 fathoms? It's when you start the water levels. And then my other favorite would be the Ice Palace, the one where with the Yetis and the snow leopards and the hanging fire or the fire chalice. Those two I thought were really fun. Now, I don't think they're the two best levels in the game by any means, but I personally love them. I'm trying to do this as a personal tier list. I always am very conflicting because I try to do personal. I don't know how you guys are or anyone watching on YouTube or anyone in the chat, but I always try and separate my personal opinion from like objective opinion. Like if you were to review a game and think of it objectively or versus personal opinion. Because like playing Tomb Raider, old Tomb Raider games now, objectively, the controls are really bad, or not so much bad, but they're very, very, very hard to grasp. And for someone that's used to like modern games where you press the jump button in like Uncharted and the game does the rest. Press jump and he'll grab, press jump and he'll climb. But in old Tomb Raider, that is not how it works. Like you gotta nail every jump, and if you don't, you're just dead. Anyways, I do think it's one of the best games. Okay, Tomb Raider 3, I don't know if this is an A or a B for me. Here's the negative thing about Tomb Raider 3. If you play Tomb Raider 3 first before any other game, it is the hardest, no question. It is a very challenging game. It was made specifically for people that have played 1, and then they played 2, and then they're gonna play 3. So when you go into that game, the devs are expecting you to be a really good Tomb Raider player already. They're expecting you to know the tricks and the traps of every Tomb Raider level, and that you need to know like everything about the game to progress. Even starting for the first level, the very first thing that happens is you're sliding into a pit of spikes and you have to jump and avoid them. Like the game does not hold back any punches. That's a good thing for me. I like a challenge, but I do think it gets annoying a lot of the time. And some of the levels in Tomb Raider 3, I think this is where some bad levels start to show. Where Tomb Raider 1 and 2 had some bad levels, I think Tomb Raider 3 had some very annoying levels. For example, London in general, for me, I hate London. I don't like playing through it. I think it is an unfun time. But overall, I do enjoy the game. And by the way, for anyone in chat or on YouTube, I do have all my playthroughs of these games unedited on the Bawkbasoups channel. And as you watch Tomb Raider 3, I am so fucking annoyed the whole time. Or not the whole time, but I am annoyed a lot of the time. Because there is a lot of annoying parts. But overall, like, I think that's just part of the Tomb Raider experience. You are frustrated because the game is so hard and you get punished for making small mistakes. It tests your patience. And Tomb Raider 3, of all the games, tests your patience the most, I think. But yeah, nothing too much to say about 3. I think it's a very hard game, but it's more of the same. It's like, it doesn't change much that was in Tomb Raider 1 and 2. It doesn't innovate at all, really. It adds a sprint button, but that's about it. And the sprint button is hard to use because there's never really enough room to fully sprint anywhere unless the game wants you to sprint. Unless you're put in this area with a boulder chasing you and running away using the sprint button. But yeah, I enjoyed Tomb Raider 3. I have a soft spot for the classics because I grew up with them. I didn't play them growing up, but I watched my brother play them all the time. Anyway, last revelation. So this is where the nostalgia ends, by the way. In today's marathon, the only other game I played on this list was Angel of Darkness. So this is where the nostalgia ends. And the objective, like, this has aged badly, kicks in. Oh, it has sprint, crouch, and monkey bars. That's right, that's right. So, last revelation. I have some problems with this game. I'm just gonna put it here for now while I talk about it. Last revelation. Experimented with open world aspects. Here, let's get the good out of the way. Love some of the early levels. I love the intro. The intro is horrid. The The intro to this game, you play as young Laura, and you get a tutorial on how to play Tomb Raider. Except here's the kicker, where in Tomb Raider 1 and then 2, and then you go to 3, and 3 expects you to be God tier, 4 expects you to be a baby, and it teaches you how to play, like press J to jump, press A in the air to grab while jumping. But here's the thing. They give you this long-winded tutorial on how to play Tomb Raider that you can't skip. And as someone that played Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3, it's very annoying that they're hand-holding you in a game that you've already mastered, okay? Hear me out. But they don't teach you the new mechanics. They only teach you the old stuff. So in the tutorial to Tomb Raider Last Revelation, they do not tell you the new stuff. They teach you what you already know, and then they don't teach you the new things they added. So when you get to the new parts in that game, like rope swinging. Now, you do swing on a rope in the intro, but it does not tell you how to do it. And other things as well. When you get to the parts that weren't in the old ones, you're just stuck confused because the tutorial didn't tell you how to do them. It told you how to jump and grab, but that's it. Anyway, I digress. I really love a lot of the first few levels. And I love a lot of the later levels as well. I think they're pretty cool. But what was it? Cairo, I think? Cairo with the bike and all the people on the rooftop shooting at you and the turrets shooting at you was one of the most aggravating experiences I've ever had in a Tomb Raider game. It was, yeah, Cairo Giga Chad. It was brutal, and I'm not a fan of Cairo, but I won't go into it. I'm just not a fan of that whole level. But yeah, some of the levels I loved. The music was fantastic in Tomb Raider 4. It was really, really well done. Laura was really cool. She was sexualized super hard in that game, but I ain't complaining. I'm just saying that was the thing. The FMVs were awesome in that game. It was top tier FMVs for the time. Really cool. So yeah, liked a lot of levels. A lot of the puzzles are really cool too. They did a great job with the puzzles, and they even added little fun stuff like the chess mini game against the voodoo guy. Even though it felt sort of rigged, I lost and I had to take the hard route. But yeah. Now here's what I don't like about Last Revelation, and I have to make a comparison to Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0 and Silent Hill 4. You can even throw in here as well. But let's use Resident Evil 0. There is a part in Resident Evil 0 where you can give your hook shot to either Rebecca or Billy, and you can send them up this hole. It's after you fight the Bat Boss. If you send Billy up, you are most likely to get stuck for maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, and maybe soft lock yourself because of the difficulty of the game. If you send Rebecca up, you can get the puzzle in 10 minutes because you're supposed to send Rebecca up. But see, that's the thing about Last Revelation as well. Player 1 in Resident Evil 0 sends Billy up, and they fucking hate the game because they're stuck for a few hours. They got to go back to the mansion, fight all the monkeys, and get decimated over and over and over, and die a bunch, and then be low on resources for the rest of the game. And player 2 sends up Rebecca, and it's just like that. They solve the puzzle. It's no big deal at all. Player 1 is going to tell you the game is terrible. Player 2 is going to say, oh, it's not that bad. I don't know why people hate RE0. Because some games have those things where it's just an RNG choice. It's just like, you make a choice based off of nothing because the game doesn't tell you or give you a hint on what to do. And that choice may ruin your experience. Last Revelation did that to me, where when it gets to those experimental open world sections, I went the wrong way 2, 3, 4 times. And guess what? When you go the wrong way in Last Revelation, you're not like choosing to do an area before another area like open world games nowadays, like Elden Ring. It's the newest one. If you go to point A, B, C, D, E, or F, it doesn't matter which point you choose first because you can complete an objective in every area. In Last Revelation, if you choose B before A, you're stuck. And you're stuck, but with the mindset of being a Tomb Raider 3, 2, and 1 player, you are thinking to yourself that you're not stuck. It's classic Tomb Raider. I'm supposed to think I'm stuck, so I got to do this puzzle or figure out what's wrong here. So I spent hours in the wrong areas at the wrong time trying to figure out what to do, But there was nothing to do. You went the wrong way, but the game will never tell you that because it's an experimental open world game. But I understand what they were going for back in the day, because if you were stuck back in the day and you went one of those wrong ways, the graphics were so good that you'd be looking at your surroundings and be like, this is super enjoyable. This is, look at the graphics. Like, there were things to distract you. But for me, I was like, what the fuck do I do? I've been in this pool of water for like 2 hours. Like, what do I do? And little did I know, I was supposed to backtrack half an hour because I chose the wrong open world direction. That made me dislike the game a lot. But I will give the game the benefit of the doubt and keep it in B. I could even go C. I mean, I think for most people that grew up with it, it's probably like an A tier game, maybe even S. You might like it the most. And that's what I mean with like Code Veronica and Silent Hill 4. Some people love those games. Not to just go off track, but it's because they were treated respectfully when they went through them. They went the right way just by chance, therefore they enjoyed the rest of their playthrough because they didn't fuck themselves over, you know what I mean? Like CVX, if you forget the grenade launcher. Some people don't find it, and then what do you do versus Plane Tyrant? What do you do when you switch to Chris when you don't actually put the items in the box for Chris? You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to get my thoughts out about Last Revelation. I think it's a great game. I got fucked over personally, so I can't give it a higher rating because... I will say this before we move on. I think Last Revelation is probably one of the better, or maybe even one of the best Tomb Raider games if you play it for a second time. Let's say you play all these games for a second time, you know not to get fucked over by the game on your second playthrough. You won't go those wrong ways. You will go the right way every time, and you'll probably really enjoy your experience. But for me, I got fucked over, yada, yada, yada. All right. Chronicles. This game actually surprised me a little bit. I'm just going to put it here for now. So before this marathon, I've never played Chronicles. I should add, oh, Tomb Raider, my favorite level, Last Revelation. And Tomb Raider 3, I forgot my favorite level too. Last Revelation, I loved the first few levels you go through, like when you're entering the tomb in the very first, and you're figuring out all the puzzles with the dude following you. Love that shit. That's like classic Tomb Raider. Loved that. And the atmosphere was fantastic with all the ambient sounds and the ambient track playing in the back, and it really felt like you were in an Egyptian tomb. It was fucking awesome. Tomb Raider 3, my favorite level. Probably, you know, thinking back, a lot of the levels were torture, but like I liked Antarctica. Like I enjoyed playing through those levels, even though they were frustrating at the time. Thinking back, they were good memories, like the minecart level and stuff. But overall, I think my favorite level is just, you know, probably the level with the kayak. As annoying as it was pretty, I don't know, a pretty damn ambitious level. I don't know why, but the kayak level is fun. I hated it when I was playing it. I was like, this is so stupid, but man, thinking back, the kayak, like, it's the biggest memory I have, so I'll say that. All right, Chronicles. Sorry, I will thank resubs right after this, guys. Thank you for all the resubs, by the way. I just don't want to lose track and get the tier list off, like go on some tangent about something that isn't Tomb Raider. All right, Chronicles. I watched Footy. Footy's like the best Tomb Raider speedrunner. I watched him run the game a little bit, and I didn't see the whole thing, but I seen bits and pieces, and I thought Rome looked really boring. I thought everything looked really boring in Chronicles, and no one ever talks about the game, so I just assumed it was like, it was just a bad game, which I don't think Chronicles is a fantastic game. So Tomb Raider Last Revelation added like rope swinging, a couple other things. Chronicles added tightrope walking, maybe. And by the way, that's a big problem people have with this franchise, that when you go from game to game, there's very little added. Similar to like going from Resident Evil 1 to Resident Evil 2. They sort of just worked on the graphics and the atmosphere. But then you compare Silent Hill 1 to Silent Hill 2, and it's a different ballgame in terms of like the movement and the gameplay. But yeah, Chronicles didn't add too much. But I enjoyed Rome. I liked how there was a tutorial and you could skip it. You could do the tutorial or you could choose not to. The story was pretty forgettable in Chronicles. I enjoyed my journey though. I will say Rome was all right. The next level with the ship was like pretty generic and pretty basic, and I don't think there was a lot of thought that was put into that level. It seemed like it was just rushed out, but I still didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. It was all right. And I loved, oh, what was it? What is the horror level that you play as young Laura? I can't remember the name. it had a specific name. It was from like, maybe it is probably Ireland, but like Gallowmere or something. It was from Medieval. I think it was called Gallowmere on the save file. Gallows Tree. Gallows, yeah, sure. That was so cool with the horseman and the undead guy and the little babies chasing it. It felt like Evil Dead almost, like a mix of Evil Dead and just dark fantasy. I loved that level. I thought it was so cool. Now, the platforming and the puzzles were nothing like too special. And yeah, the rope swinging at near the end of the level was really annoying because it hardly worked. But at the same time, I loved the atmosphere and I loved what they tried to do. It felt like one of the most unique levels in the franchise, and I thought that was really cool. A little strange of them to show the first showing of Laura's boobs was when she was like 14 at the beginning of the cutscene. That was pretty weird. In Gallo, that's how they start the level, like an FMV of her putting her shirt on. It's just like, of all times to show like semi-nude Laura, you choose when she's underage. Like, what were you thinking? Like, Jesus. But yeah, I thought the game was cool. And now here we go. Okay, just wait. Just wait. The last level of Chronicles is dog shit. I hated that level. It was such an unenjoyable experience, an uninspired level. I won't get into it because I'm just too lazy. But man, that last segment of Chronicles was brutally bad. And to make matters worse, I don't know if it happened to you. We're going to a Tomb Raider Last Revelation thing right now. There is a guy that you have to get killed by trapping him in a room with poisonous gas, okay? And it bugged out over and over and over for me. I had to retry it again and again and again, and he just kept getting stuck, and I'd have to reload, and he'd get stuck, and I'd have to reload. And it was just this process over and over, and it's just like, there's all these things in the game. That's not the only thing that happens in Chronicles that soft locks you. Things happen and you just don't know what to do, and you can't do it because you're glitched out, but you don't know you're glitched. And I can't imagine playing this back when it came out without the internet and stuff, or without the internet like being as prominent as it is now. You'd be stuck forever. I'm gonna put Chronicles in a C because I do like the game. I don't think it's garbage. I should add another tier. I'm going to. Just give me a second here. All right. So, yeah, Chronicles was whatever. But I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I actually thought it would be like a D or an F. So, it was cool in that regard. Second. I have to restart this soundtrack because it's getting too crazy, fellas. It's getting too crazy. Okay, what is up next? So, the next game we played was Legend. Well, we'll save Angel of Darkness for last. Next game I played was Legend. All right, so we'll just keep it here for now. I never watched anything for Legend, Underworld, and Anniversary. I played Anniversary for like 2 hours one day, and then I never played it again. Legend, dude, I was shocked. Love the intro to Legend, where it's like GoldenEye, Mission Impossible. She's dashed around the screen. It shows all her friends that you play with during the course of the missions. And then the actual intro, you like right off the bat, you know Laura's this huge badass, like making this crazy jump from a cliff to another cliff. I love the intro to Legend. It's so good. It brought a tear to my eye watching it because they nailed Laura. Like I was terrified to go into a new, like you're so used to classic Laura with these 5 games, or 6, I guess if you count Angel of Darkness. You're so worried about what they're gonna do with her, and she's a badass right off the bat. It's like, fuck yeah, they nailed her. And yeah, I thought Legend was, I honestly thought it was a really, really enjoyable game. I don't have many bad things to say about it. Like, it's either an A or... I don't have anything bad to say about it. Like, it's short. Oh, wait. It's not going an A. It's not going an A. I played on hard mode. Sorry, I forgot about this key thing. I forgot. So, first level, I love how... Let me just talk about it. Oh, I forgot about the rope. All right. By the way, like I said, if you want to watch my full playthroughs, they're on my Bawkbasoups channel. I'll put a link in the description on YouTube. Just type in Extra Short VOD if you watch it on Twitch. 2 things in Legend are actual dog shit. So, game has a lot of glitches, and yes, I played on the PC version. That's my fault, but that's what I'm reviewing, so I had all the fixes installed. Don't worry, I had VSync on. Don't worry, I had everything I needed to have on. But Legend, so let's get the cool out of the way. The secrets, the mansion, the unlockable costumes, so cool, so well done. Finally, they did secrets the way I wanted them to do them. You find the hard to find ones, you get better rewards. You get the outfits, and you can use in the mansion, in Laura's mansion, or the Croft Manor. And they did such a good job with that too. Great practice area, great little secrets everywhere, really cool. Great first section of the game. I liked most levels in Legend, except there was one part, or there was a few parts actually, with the rope swinging. When you jump in Legend, Laura reaches out to grab what you're jumping towards. And with a rope, there's a very specific animation. And you can call me bad, what the fuck ever. The mechanic doesn't work. And it doesn't work a lot of the time. You will jump directly at something and you'll be the perfect distance away and she just won't grab and you'll die. And that's it. There was one level in Legend where I tried to grab this rope 40 fucking times over and over and over. I reached out, I tried to grab the rope and she would just fail. And then the attempt we did it, I didn't even aim for it. And then she's just like, oh, like a magnet grabs it. Like, it was just very inconsistent. It was clearly bugged. It was clearly not fixed. It was a very big issue in my run. And maybe when you played it, you just, like, you didn't even die to it once. You just flew by. But for me, it fucked me over. Like, we were stuck on it forever. We had to use the internet and look up if you could even pass that area. And I was jumping in the correct spot, everything. Regardless, just a little issue. I died like 40 times, little issue. Here's the main problem. Now, this is because I picked hard mode. So if I picked normal, it'd probably be an A-rated game for me. But when you pick hard mode and you do the bike section in the snow, it is the most unfair. This is not like a skill diff thing. It is a very, very, very unfair section. You have to not only get good RNG, but play like an absolute god to even make it through. It is not fun at all. You need to not miss a single health kit. You need to not miss a single shot. You need to make sure someone actually drives over the explosives and then you trigger them with your button. It's brutal. Like, I would reckon a lot of people, if they picked hard mode, and it might even happen on normal, I don't know, they would get there and just quit the game because it's so, so, so bad. But regardless of those two things, those are two massive blemishes, which is why I put it in a B and not an A. But I did like it more than Last Revelation, I think. Or like equal. But yeah, I thought Legend was good overall. I was surprised. Like when she goes to that fancy dinner and she has the dress on and then rips the dress in half and takes out the dualies and starts blasting everyone. It was so cool. And she is a badass in that game too. And I love every game where Laura's a badass, which is almost all of them. They did a great job showing how cool she was in Legend. And that's what I appreciate. Like, as a Laura fan, when I played Metroid Dread, I was like in tears, so happy because it finally showed how fucking badass Samus is. And in Legend, I got the same feeling where you are playing a character you love and you're so used to her just being thrown to the side, or like she's pretty cool in Chronicles and Last Revelation, but she's like over the top cool in Legend, and I love how they did it. You're basically playing as female James Bond and the main character from Mission Impossible combined into one. Anyways, I digress. Next I played Anniversary. Easy A for me. I think Anniversary is something that most remakes should strive to do. Now, I was a bit disappointed that they took away one level, I think, and some of the levels. So I should mention, Anniversary is a remake of Tomb Raider 1, basically. Oh, and Legend, my favorite level. Probably the like we were just talking about, the fancy dinner where you go up the elevator and you rip your dress in half. I thought that was cool. Anniversary. I don't know how everyone else feels about it, but backstory. I played Anniversary for about 2 hours or something one day, like years ago. I got to the T-Rex fight. I seen the boss health meter and the gimmick, and I was like, this fucking sucks. They ruined Tomb Raider 1. Fuck this game. I'm never playing again. Well, I did play again, and I'm glad I did because I loved my experience. I think they fixed all the technical issues with Legend where things didn't work very well. Now, I may be forgetting some brutal parts. You guys in chat can remind me. But I thought Anniversary was so good. Like, especially after playing RE3 Remake, and I know a lot of people were like disappointed by a lot of remasters, like Chrono Cross Remaster just came out and it was a bit lackluster. But the remake for Anniversary, they didn't take out anything that I like really cared about. Every important thing was there, and they improved on the story. I can actually think of one part I hated about Anniversary now, but I think they did it right. They brought Tomb Raider to the modern era, and they made it enjoyable. It didn't take away anything. For me, I'm a fan of Tomb Raider 1. I speedran the game for years. I have hundreds of... It's in my top 10 most played games on Steam. It's in my top 10 most streamed games on Twitch, which I've been streaming on Twitch for 8 years, so that's saying something. And for me, I thought Anniversary was really good. I think I would be happy... Let me put it this way. If a friend of mine asked me what Resident Evil is my favorite and what Resident Evil should I play, I would so hate telling them to play RE3 Remake, even though it's like far better in terms of modernization than the original. But when you play the remake, you're missing out on literally all the cool stuff that happens in that game. Like, all the really cool parts aren't in the remake. Anniversary doesn't suffer from that, in my opinion. I think all the important beats are in that game. So if you want your friend to experience Tomb Raider 1, but you know it's too clunky for them, recommend the Anniversary. That's what remakes are for. They're to take the original, keep all the really cool parts, and then make it playable to the modern audience. And I think Anniversary did a great job of that. Now, I have Tomb Raider higher on the tier list because I enjoy it more. But there was some problems I had with this game. But I think for the most part, they did a great job at remaking it and modernizing it, and I really appreciate for that. And yeah, what I didn't like was they took away the flash dungeons. Like at the end of Tomb Raider, if you guys didn't play it, the last level is basically like this flesh womb temple, like this pulsating, fleshy, small corridor temple that is basically alive. It's like just body horror to the max, and I love it. And it's very toned down on Anniversary. And not only that, but it's very dumbed down on Anniversary. The climb to get to the top of the temple is just this monotonous, like, you make these 2 jumps, you shoot a button, these guys spawn, you kill them, you swing, you shoot a button, these guys spawn. That's how you climb. And that part is terrible because for me, the camera kept bugging out. I would just fall off the edge. I'd try and kill them, and then my character just back off the edge by herself. That one part in the game made me so angry. Because it's just, you could tell it's just a rushed part. And you could tell that in a lot of the Tomb Raider games. These games were pushed out very fast by the publisher. So a lot of them are like unfinished angel. But for the most part, they work. And I feel like that is where those blemishes started to show up in Anniversary. Near the end of the game when you're climbing that temple, and even parts after that, you're just like, okay, I can see where the polish isn't. I digress. I think it's a great game. I recommend playing it. Tomb Raider Underworld. There's a lot of really cool levels in Underworld. Oh yeah, my favorite level in Anniversary is... The first one that comes to mind is the Ancient Cistern, or whatever what's it called? I think it's called Ancient Cistern. Or the level before that, where you're swimming around this sewer. The sewer level happens to be my favorite for some reason, but I really enjoyed it. It was really chill. I enjoyed playing it. Honestly, when I'm doing this right now, like, what's my favorite level in that game? I'm just saying the first thing that came to my mind, and when I thought of that, yeah, Tomb of Tehokan. Oh, okay, Tomb of Tehokan Anniversary. That's the level I enjoyed the most, and they changed it so much. It's not a hard level per se, but that level is one to me that they really did bring it to a modern day, because it was really annoying in the old one because you had to lower and raise the water. You had to do the same in this one, but it was a lot easier to grasp what you were supposed to do. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. There was a lot of neat levels. There's probably one I enjoyed way more. You're gonna have to watch the playthrough to get my actual like real-time thoughts. All right, so Underworld, yes. Underworld has a lot of really cool ideas. I really like the story of like Shadow or Mean Laura. The story was really cool. It's a very cinematic experience. They really went all out with the graphics and making it more like a movie in Underworld, where they did similar stuff in Legend, but I feel like Underworld was when they were like, all right, let's make this like a movie. Very cinematic. Most of the levels are super cinematic. I mean, starting off right from the first level, you're diving underwater just from your boat out in the middle of the water. You swim into this little tomb and boom, there's a massive octopus or squid, whatever. And then you have to crush it with these pillars. Like, they were obviously going for a movie feel. And I think they nailed that aspect. I think they did a really good job doing that. I really enjoyed the level design in Underworld. I didn't hate it, by the way. I didn't hate Underworld. I enjoyed my playthrough. But man, here's the big blemish for Underworld. It has the worst camera, the absolute worst camera of the entire franchise. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like that can't, the whole time you're playing the game, you are fighting the camera. The camera is a boss that's there the entire playthrough. It is abysmal. And the thing is, you can control the camera, but it doesn't help your cause. And like I said, it's still a C. I didn't hate I didn't hate any of these games, by the way. I didn't hate any of them. I actually really enjoyed playing through them. But like, I could even put this in I don't know where to put this yet. I'm just putting it here for now. But yeah, I enjoyed Underworld though. I thought it was really fun. It's just the camera was the only bad thing. And well, actually, there was a few things. Underworld dumbs down the platforming a lot too. It made Lara almost magnetic, like jumps that you shouldn't make. Like let's say you jump to a platform. The webcam is the platform, so I'm supposed to jump like this. In every other Tomb Raider game, I jump like that. In Underworld, I could go like this, and then her hands would just teleport and be there. And then when you try and get up, she just like fall back down because like it's the most ambitious Tomb Raider game. Well, mechanics wise, they tried to add so many new things in Underworld. Like Underworld had all these new mechanics that weren't in any other game. They really tried to push the bill with that game. But as I predicted when I first played it, those new mechanics were very janky and very buggy, and a lot of the time they just got you killed because they were implemented so fast. Like this team, or well, there was a different team that worked on the new ones, but Tomb Raiders used to like one new thing every game, or two new things, or like one sort of new thing. But Tomb Raider Underworld went all out and added a ton of new stuff. They changed the whole formula. On top of that, on top of the buggy stuff, where I appreciate the new mechanics, by the way. I enjoyed using them and traversing the levels with the new stuff. And it made puzzles a lot more interesting as well, like standing on the poles and jumping off of poles and jumping on top of a pole and all the other stuff they added. The secrets, man. Oh, Underworld? Didn't even bother looking for secrets. So boring. Like literally, you'd walk in a room that you're supposed to walk into. Part of the story. You'd kick a pot. Secret sound plays. You found a secret. Like, they did not give a flying fuck about the secrets in that game. They are so piss poor. I don't even know why they're in the game. Like, I really don't understand why they're even there. They were terrible. Like, I can't imagine someone being excited over that. Like, oh my god, a new level. There's 50 secrets, and 25 of them are just kicking a pot that's in your way as you're running through the level. And sometimes you're just literally running through the level and the secret sound will play. And you'll look over and be like, oh, there's a secret there. And sometimes they're so meaningless. Sometimes there was a secret right beside me, like this, and I just kept walking because I was like, fuck this, I ain't picking up this shit. Like, why would I? Granted, I looked for the relics in that game sometimes because those give you costumes. Who doesn't want Lara Croft in different costumes? I mean, I feel like costumes are a great thing to add to Tomb Raider games. But yeah, I think Underworld was fun though. But there was a lot of mechanics that really made me angry. But I did love the level design. I don't know what my favorite level would be. Probably as much as I struggled with it, probably the level with the table in the middle where you have to push the voodoo guys to the center, the statues to the center of the table. I really like that one, even though I had trouble with it and it probably seemed like I hated it, but I enjoyed going through that level. And the bike stuff was really annoying as well. Like, I forgot the bike a lot, and you need to just, it wouldn't, if you saved it and reloaded, it wouldn't bring your bike to you. You had to go fucking find it. That was pretty bad, but, you know, as janky as it was, I actually appreciate the jank sometimes. I have a lot of fun with stuff that doesn't work. Like, let's say something kills me. Let's say a bug kills me. Not the legend rope bug, but let's say I can't make a jump with the bike in Tomb Raider Underworld. I might not be angry. I might die 50 times and still be laughing at it because it's just so janky and so funny to watch. But yeah, I thought Underworld was pretty good. All right, Angel of Darkness. This game is absolute fucking... It is abysmal. It has the worst controls of... I just finished playing this game, by the way. It has the worst controls of any video game I've ever played, or it's up there. That's too much to say. But it is among the worst controls I've ever used in my entire life. Nothing works. You get stuck on every corner. She walks for no reason before running. Then she runs for no reason before walking. You press the sidestep button and she turns instead. You press the other sidestep button, she turns this way instead. You press take out your weapons and she doesn't do it. You press it 80 times and then finally she'll take them out. Like, the game does not work. And I know people defend this game, be like, well, it wasn't finished. And it sucks for the dev team that the publishers pushed this game out like every other Tomb Raider, but this one was the most brutal. Like, it wasn't near done. But that shows. I get that people see that there's like a gem hidden behind all this dust, but don't bullshit me and say that it's a good game as it is. It is an atrocious game as it is. The game hardly even works. And okay, sure. Oh, but Bawk, did you use the patch? No, yes. I put on a patch, and I know you're supposed to patch it 8 times, but out the fucking box, this game is absolute trash. Yes, if you patch it a fuck ton, it works. But even when it's working, most of the levels are just insanely generic. Like, for example, the warehouse level. It's just like 4 assets copy pasted everywhere, and you run from one side of the level to the other, back, and then back again. That's a lot of the levels. It's the same with like the box pushing puzzle and the electric gate. It's a brain dead puzzle, and it takes like 15 minutes, even if you know what you're doing. And then when you finally do it, it's only because I feel stronger now. And now that you feel stronger because you pushed the one box in the one location, now you can go do what you were actually supposed to do. Like, I could go on and on about Angel of Darkness. I get what they were trying to do. And if they had enough time to complete the game, like let's say they had all the time in the world, 5 years, it may have ended up being good. But as it stands, I think it is a absolute broken disaster. That, like, the story is pretty cool, I'll give it that. I did think the story was interesting, but the side characters, like, what's the dude's name? Curtis. Like, I didn't think Curtis was interesting. He basically molests you in the first scene you see him in, and then Laura, like, the game makes you think Laura's, like, semi-interested in him and has, like, a connection with him, but, like, he's just this fucking creepy dude that's supposed to be cool. I don't know. I don't... It's hard to think of good stuff to say about Angel of Darkness. I think Laura's cool in that game. She looks cool. I like her look. Her look is great. And she's a badass in that game, don't get me wrong, but she is like insanely mean. Laura is at her bitchiest in Angel of Darkness. She is a fucking asshole to everyone she talks to. Every cutscene, she is ripping on the other person. It doesn't even matter if it's a random villager. She's just fucking tearing them to pieces. She wants what she wants and she wants it now. Like, she's mean just for the sake of being like a really bitchy person. Now, okay, Laura's usually like acts similar, but they really brought it overboard with this. But yeah, I think this is a good indication of how I feel about the franchise. So I have played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but I haven't played it in, like, I played it when it came out. I can't remember anything about it. I do plan on playing, by the way, before we finish and I get my final thoughts out, I do plan on playing Shadow, Rise, and the reboot, and these 2 games. I forget what they're called. And the DLCs for Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 at least. I believe there's DLCs for all 3 of them. Before the new game comes out. So before the new one comes out, let's say like a couple weeks before. I don't know when it's coming out. 2024, 2025, doesn't matter, don't care. Before it comes out, right before it comes out, we'll do another Tomb Raider marathon. We'll play the DLCs because I didn't play the DLCs for any game. And we will play the games I didn't play. But yeah, I'm excited to do that. I really, really enjoyed this marathon. I'm not going to put any of it. Well, I have one video on my main YouTube about Tomb Raider 1, and you guys can watch it if you want to. You don't have to watch it. But I will put up one more video with the whole franchise and what I am doing for the video. You guys could check it out in like a week or so, or a few days. It just depends when my editor gets to it. I'm making a compilation of a bunch, like 100 different deaths from all the games. So there'll be deaths from each game. Some of the most memorable deaths, like the rope one from Legend. Yada, yada, yada. There'll be a death compilation, probably like 5 to 15 minutes of just deaths. And I think that'll be the most fun because I try and read my audience on Twitch and YouTube. And I put up an actual edited video of my playthrough of Tomb Raider. And a lot of you guys were digging it, but didn't do too well. So I don't want to put all this time and resources into doing one for every single game. I'll put all the VODs on my VODs channel. You guys can watch them whenever you want. I'll make a playlist for it. They'll always be there if you want to go back and look through them. And they'll always be there for me if I want to go back and see my opinion or how I felt about these games. As you guys know, I change my mind all the time on video games. Even just thinking about them makes me change my mind. But in this state of mind right now, after just beating Angel of Darkness, this is how I feel about the franchise. And I feel pretty confident about where I put everything. Now, granted, a lot of these can move up or down a rank, just depending on nothing. Angel of Darkness will be an F, though. It was a miserable experience. I would never, ever want to play this game again. The other ones, maybe one day I will play them again. Or, like, dabble in them. Probably not. And I do want to do a no loads, no meds challenge for maybe Tomb Raider 1, 2, or 3. I'm not sure. And I would like to speedrun one of the Tomb Raider games again. Or improve my time in the first game, which I plan on doing sometime in the next few months. I definitely will do it. I promise you guys I will do it. But yeah, I really enjoy playing these. What is your guys' favorite? In the chat, which of these games is your absolute favorite? No judgment, even if it's Angel of Darkness. Well, which is your favorite of all these games? Oh. And if you're watching on YouTube, tell me your favorite as well down below if you made it through the whole video. Anniversary, a lot of anniversaries. Rise, Legend, Angel of Darkness, Giga Chad. 2, yeah, 2 is clearly up there for me. And by the way, like I said, I need to reiterate this. I think all these games are good. I don't think any of them are actual, like, objectively bad games. I think they're all decent. Like, they're all at least good. Not bad, not meh. Oh, this sort of meh, but I think they're all good. At the very least. Well, this is fucking atrocious, but cool. And the grab, oh man, I forgot to mention the grab rope mechanic from, oh, there was one jump in freaking Last Revelation that was like infamous. Chat was blowing up. They couldn't wait till I got to that one rope in the game. There was one rope where it was just like an optical illusion where swinging to the other rope was like like frame perfect. A lot of good memories with this franchise marathon. I do plan to do another franchise marathon soon. Someday, like Metal Gear and Mega Man and bad RE clones. Or RE clones in general, bad video games in general, or like bad, but some people think they're good, like cult classics. I want to do a lot of marathons. I think they're really fun. And I had a ton of fun doing this one. This is the first like true marathon I've done since the RE marathon I did months ago, or like before Village came out. I played all 26 RE games all in a row, and I reviewed all of them. It's a big playlist I have on YouTube. Every single one of them I played, even the stupid 3DS Mercenaries game and Code Veronica 2. But yeah, I enjoyed this, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed as well.